Okay, and we're back, and as you can see, I've got dual cap right here, single cap here, dual cap right here. So essentially I've got 5 capacitors going across right here. These again are, this is F&T. This particular F&T right here, these blue caps are rated at 500 volts. This single one's 475. You always want your voltage to be higher on your capacitor than what your anticipated inrush voltage is going to be, because you don't want to blow your cap. On this one, with my plate current going to be around 415, this one's going to get hit first. I've got enough of a cushion between 415 and 500 volts. This one is much further down the line. The voltage is already dropped, so I can go with the 475 rating. This one's identical to this one. It's just the printing is on here upside down when they made particular caps, so you don't see the printing on this one. I'll lift this one up to where you can see it. As you can see, takes up damn near a little more than 3 1/4 inches of space when everything's said and done. Now, of course, this cake pan will go like that and set over top of it, so you can't touch that, because that's going to be very high DC voltage, and you don't want to get the shit knocked out of you on that. These are going to be for my standoffs right here. I'll hog these out a little bit bigger for my wire leads. These two here are going to go to the left hand side, and this one and these two here will go out on this side here. Gets us closer to the point of where they're going to go into. Now, I'm going to lift these pieces back off of here, just kind of give you an idea, now that you know what the size is. I didn't cut the ends off yet, they're just approximately bent, set in place, so you see what they look like. Now, when you look inside of here, if you bear in mind, actually, because of the way everything is spaced, this is going to be closer to being right about right. Hard to do with one hand. Right about there, but it's going to be on the top side, so you can see how big of a chunk that would have took out of the turret board. I mean, that's a pretty good sized footprint to eat out of it. When you're using a laydown transformer like this one, this is going to stick up 5/8 of an inch through this hole, so you kind of be aware of, to make sure that nothing protrudes too far this direction. These are going to be, that's my rectifier tube, these are my 2 power tubes. They won't stick up high enough to be in the way of this. And you can see, here's my jewel light. I pushed it over to the side, because if I, hang on a minute. Switch hands. You can see how far back in it sets. It would have definitely been a conflict with the transformer, unless I push it way up high and it wouldn't look right. So I'll put this one off to the side, because this can roll this bracket right here, this width. Doesn't matter if you mount it that way, that way, that way, or upside down, that direction right there. Doesn't matter to the pilot light. And this is going to be a combined right here. On-off standby switch, which goes in right there and clears the transformer. So that leaves the space left. I'm going to stick this blank down in here. Okay, if I'm all the way to that end, and I haven't cut the blank off yet, you can see how much room that I've got real estate now to spread my board out on. The reason I want the real estate to spread my board out on is because this chassis is being wired for a blackface, not a tweed era, and things are going to lay out differently than they did on the Tweed era amp. So if I have this mounted right here, I want to make sure where my input jacks come back through like this, because this is going to be setting up, this board is going to be setting up on 1/2 inch standoff, so it's going to be up off the bottom 1/2 inch like this, and then all your components are going to be mounted to the board. I want to make sure when I plug into my jacks right here or here that I leave a space so I don't hit these components. So that's a kind of a unusable space right there. This is going to be for the 6G3 side, high-low input. High input's going to be kind of goosey, get quite a bit of gain off of it. I'll drill a hole up here for a little miniature toggle switch for bright on and off, and this gets volume and a tone. Then this side here is the black face, and your typical high-low right here. Normally on a Fender amp they're sideways. I had to stack a vertical because of the footprint. And then you have your volume. The client wants master volume, so that's going to go there. Treble, middle, bass, reverb, and speed on the tremolo. I think I've got everything laid out okay. Doesn't matter if I have to stack something along here if I run out of space, although the preferred control knob is a chicken head. This will get, typically this matches the cabinet and the amp. That's the way Leo did these. These are steel, they're chrome plated and white silkscreen with your control lettering on it. Since this is a custom build, I will have a plexi plate that will go over top of this, indicating each individual function, so it covers the holes. If I need to come back in here and adjust and add 2 holes, which I may need to do on this one down here for speed and intensity, that's what I'll end up doing. But this is as much as I can jam in this footprint on this particular chassis. So that kind of lines out the way things are going to go on that. First thing people say is, oh, let's bolt everything up and put it all in here. This is going to be hard enough getting in here across here. So the first thing I'm going to do is drill all my holes. I have yet to drill the holes for the mounting hole for the turret board itself. So those need to be drilled yet. Like I said earlier, I've got a hole drilled. Got to drill a hole here for the choke wires to go through. That's 2 wires, and down on this end past the cake pan, which sets on there like that. And the reverb driver gets here, which is shipped. It's about the same size as the choke. Choke's not very big on these particular models. I'll have to drill 2 holes here and set of holes on both sides for primary and for secondary on that choke driver itself. So that needs to be mounted yet, and I don't want to mount anything until I'm done. Then I also have to come back here, mount a couple holes for my ground bus. I'll have one here. I'll have my individual main ground, because this right here is going to be the power cord, because it's tucked in the bottom, can't get to. This is going to be the fuse. I'll have an individual ground for that complies with NEC on that, for my individual isolated ground on that. And I'll have another ground down here for the preamp. That's about it.